Hi there, my name is Darcy Nalder, and this is what I call Darcy's Art for the Heart. I'm going to do a walkthrough of this journal that I've titled Finding Joy in the Journey. This has been a really good experience for me creating this journal. It's one that I created quite a few years ago, but every time I look at it, I still enjoy remembering, and new insights happen all the time as I look through this book. This book was created by taking a children's board book and repurposing it and changing the pictures on the pages. It's a good foundation for your journal. The pages are heavy and they can take a lot of abuse and they can take a lot of addition to the pages. It's a fun beginning. This is a board book that I have covered the pages and it's ready to be embellished. And it's just another example of using a board book. I like to look for board books with interesting pages. This one has pages that get bigger and bigger as you go through the book. And I just look for things like tabs or interesting shapes. They make really nice journals. So this particular journal, Finding Joy in the Journey, has a board book that has these fun little tabs on the side. And then I created a little extra surprise by adding a lock to the pages, just the first 2 pages of this journal. And we'll talk about that a little bit later towards the end of this video. But I also found a vintage lock in the thrift store and added that to this. So I think it just adds to the fun and the charm of the book. So what would you tell your baby self? So this spread is dedicated to writing a letter to your baby self. What would you wish for that baby? So I began with a picture of me as a baby, and then I thought about, well, what would I tell my baby self in a letter if I could do that? I printed out the letter on my computer and cut out the strips, added it to the page, embellished it, and I just looked for things in my stash that I had that I thought looked nice with this particular spread. I found a lot of inner peace when I was creating this letter to myself, and that's why I labeled the tab Inner Peace on this particular art project in the book. Next, we're going to rewrite a negative memory. I found inspiration for this particular project from Tamara Laporte. She has a wonderful website with all kinds of different art lessons and classes, but I particularly liked this one that explored feelings that maybe bother you from your past, and being able to look at that situation and imagine it turning out differently. Imagine it turning out in a positive way, the way that you wanted it to turn out or you wished it could have turned out. And that, for me, is what this particular spread is about. And this was another one that was very moving for me as I did it and as I rewrote those memories. Now when I look at the page, I see something much more beautiful and much more positive than the initial feelings that I was trying to work through to start with. Next is honoring my achievements. Now that's something that sometimes I don't always give myself credit for, and so that's why I included it in this journal. I called this spread Achievement, and I've always said that my family, my children, raising my children, that they are actually my master's degree. And I got that long before I actually got a degree at university. And so this spread is dedicated to my family and all the things that we did while they were growing up, our faith, and the things that were most dear and important to us. And then, as I had graduated from university not that long before creating this spread, I included that because that for me was a huge achievement. Going back to school after 30 years of being away from school and raising a family, and then returning to school was quite a challenge, but I did it. And I was able to do what I would call a difficult thing. And I achieved something that was important to me. Let go of perfection. How many of us struggle with letting go of being perfect? So, this page is all about letting go of precisely measuring, of having everything just be so. And it literally is a page of things that were left over. So, they were things that were never intended to be a picture or to come together in a spread like this in the first place. In the very background of it is a place where I have an envelope. You can kind of see it peeking through at the top. There's the little pink at the top. You can see the envelope, and then where it says my name, Darcy Nalder, also has my address, which I just, for purposes of this video, put little paper over it. But so there's an envelope back there, and then there's a page over top of the envelope that is actually a page I just used for putting behind something I was painting so I wouldn't get painting on the next page of a journal. And it just looked like trees to me, and I put it on there and I started to just play with it. I just let go, and I totally embraced just seeing what would happen as I put colors together and things together, and what it just seemed to want to become. And I have to say that I have become better at art when I learned to let go of perfection and embrace imperfection, which sounds really strange, but it is really true. I think the best thing that I ever did was start to play with distressed art. And in doing that, it changed how I looked at it, and I started to understand the value of the things as they are instead of what I was trying to force them to be. This is really hard to explain, but as you do something like this in a journal spread like this, where you just embrace what is and you let go of what's imperfect and you just work with it and you keep playing with it and you add to it, magic happens. And this is a really cathartic experience if you give it a try. Gratitude is everything. Almost all of my journals have some aspect of gratitude in them. So this gratitude page is representative of all the things I could think of in the moment that I'm grateful for. And I used the gold paint, like little raindrops coming down and landing on me, that are like blessings to my life. Did you know that expressing gratitude, when we get in the feeling of gratitude, it actually helps your heart be healthy, and it actually turns brainwaves into something more positive going on in your brain when you engage in gratitude. Gratitude is huge. It has such an impact in our life. And if ever you are struggling, That's the time to pull out a journal and start writing down things you're grateful for. Gratitude can make a huge difference in your emotional well-being. And now for my surprise ending. At the end of my book, I have a page that has this special little surprise in it. So I thought at the end, I just wanted to remember something really important. And I borrowed this from Winnie the Pooh, or A.A. Milne. And it says, "Promise me you'll always remember you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. And then over on the right side, and loved more than you will ever know." And then hidden here in a little pocket, it's hard to see in this picture, but there is a little plastic piece of acetate on top of that key in a little compartment that it just slides and you can pull the key out. And what's the key for? Well, remember that lock at the beginning where we locked a couple of the pages at the front of the book? The key goes to that lock. And what do you find when you open that lock and you open up the pages and see what's inside? Well, that's where you find a disc over there on the left that has some important memories to me on it. And then the heart that's there is something that is a very special project. I call it Free to Be Me. So the heart just lives in a little clear plastic pocket on this page. I've decorated it with some of my favorite stamps and colors. This is just a typical example of my style and things that I like. And then I wrote on it, "Free to Be Me." This heart also holds a secret. It is made just from watercolor paper. It's not really heavy cardboard, but firm watercolor paper. And on the front side, you can see that it has the design on it. On the back side, there's a little smudge left over from creating it, but there's no writing on the back. But the surprise thing about it that is very interesting to me was a happy accident that happened one time when I was creating some art. I happened to hold up a piece of artwork that I had created, and behind it was the sun from the window coming in, and I could see through the paper. And it was so interesting to me that all of a sudden, things that I had created in first layers on that page, I could see them, and it happened to be writing, and it was writing that I could still read. This is an exercise I do often, where I take upsetting feelings or feelings that are frustrating me or feelings that I want to work through, and I write them down on the page. I'll set a timer and I'll write those words on the page. And then I take gesso and I actually cover those all up and I rewrite it. I go ahead and I add colors and other design elements, and I work through to a place where I find much more calm and much more peace, and to where those things aren't bothering me so much. So in this instance, where I created this little heart, in behind there, sandwiched in the first layers where I wrote on there with Sharpie on the page, you can see it says, "You're not enough." That was one of the things that I had put on this page to be a process to work through upsetting feelings. And then I just added other words in there, other things at the time that were a struggle and were things that I wanted to address in a positive way. And I wanted to rewrite them, and I wanted to come to full term with them. It's also something that I honor as it is part of me. It's how I came to be here in this place now, where I can manage those feelings. And I found a way that I can get it all out on the page, and then I can recreate it into something more beautiful and something more positive. And it is all a part of me. Even those negative things is a part of me and part of who I am and how I got here to this point in my life. And now we come to the end of my journal. This is actually the back cover of the journal, and I've titled it Open to Healing. And here is my healing angel. I love little angels. I have them frequently in my artwork. And on this back cover, this is the angel that graces that cover to remind me about how everything in this journal has been a healing journey. It's been a journey of lifting and building and growing and honoring achievement and who I am and who I have become and how I've changed in positive ways. And I just challenge you to get out a journal and start creating. It is a beautiful experience and one that can really help your emotional well-being and your overall health. If you have enjoyed going through this journal with me, go ahead and check out the other videos that I have on my website. This is just one of many that show you how to use art to process feelings and to heal and to grow and to improve as an artist. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.